Okay, this is my third video for Intro to Social Work. It's about vulnerable populations, and there are many different kinds of vulnerable populations that social workers might encounter. And for the purposes of this video, I brought up a few specific examples, but there are lots of different examples of vulnerable populations. For I was thinking about homeless, the homelessness issue, poverty issue, um, and endangered children, as far as vulnerable populations go. And really, at a micro level, social worker can intervene on an individual basis with any number of these different vulnerable populations. For instance, in a homeless shelter. I've volunteered in a homeless shelter. There are social workers there who can work with someone who finds himself in a situation of poverty or homelessness on a whole, that can and they can find different ways and find different things that might be able to assist this person and better in their situation. Programs, getting them signed up for different things like healthcare or assistance that can help them move forward and change their situation. And on like a meso level, those places like the shelter that I talked about and other institutions that exist to to assist people in getting their situation better, helping them meet their basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, roof over their head, so that they don't have to worry about that, and they can uh, work on trying to find a job and trying to get their situation to a better place. And on a macro level, as far as that goes, advocacy for all of these vulnerable populations on a macro level is, in my opinion, the biggest issue and the biggest way to make a change moving forward for any vulnerable population. Advocating and participating in activism with government, state government and federal government, and Congress and the people who make policy, having people there to advocate for the vulnerable populations that can't advocate for themselves is a big issue that I think social work is one of the most important aspects of social work. And as far as contemporary issues going on in this country or in the world in general, one thing that popped into my mind immediately was homeless veterans. And I hear it in the news a lot, and there's a lot of different reasons why you hear it. Most of the time, it's political. They're used as a political just talking point, and and it's come up a lot with another population that's vulnerable that I thought about, and that's refugees of foreign wars, refugees in general, people who are displaced from their country because of uh, war going on that they're not necessarily a part of or have no stake in, but they find themselves displaced because they have nowhere else to go because of ongoing war and conflict in their country. And in this country specifically, with what's going on in Syria, a lot of people have very strong opinions about why are we taking in refugees from this foreign country when we can't take care of our homeless veterans or our homeless population in general, and why are we spending resources to help these people uh, when we have a homelessness issue and poverty issue in our own country that we aren't addressing? And I say yes, I say that's true, but we're not addressing it. It is still there. It was there before the refugees, and just because there's refugees coming into this country, using the homeless population that exists in this country prior to this whole situation as a talking point doesn't change doesn't change the reality for those people. And it's in my opinion a shame that at a local level, regional or international level, that there nothing's really seems to be really being done. In my opinion, it's just using one against the other for political talking points. But as far as the homeless population goes, with veterans in this country, like there are a lot of programs. There's the VA hospital, and then there's all the other homelessness programs that exist, and they're effective, but it sometimes is difficult, maybe from an intervention standpoint of a social worker talking to a homeless veteran and being able to relate to them, or being able to understand that maybe a lot of the things that they went through in war or while they were in service, put them in a place where they don't feel like they have any way to relate and be productive in the society that they find themselves in now, that their skills are such that they don't feel like they can become a part of or belong in this society. And I don't know, the PTSD is a major issue when it comes to homeless veterans too, and it going untreated completely or undertreated. And the thing is that that's the issue. That's the job of a social worker, in my opinion, though, is to identify those things when they're talking to someone, and dealing with someone with those issues, and making sure that they get the appropriate help that they need and find the level of care that they need to get them back to a point where they can become productive and feel like they can contribute again. And the last thing that I also thought about when it came to contemporary issues of vulnerable populations is substance abuse. Substance abuse is something that um, is a major part of our society, and it affects almost every person, whether directly or indirectly, and the issues that surround it, and the money that's spent on it, and advocacy, and whether it should be criminal or not criminal. Um, it's a serious issue, and it causes um, uh, problems with families. It causes problems with homelessness. It causes problems with criminal behavior and things like that. And it gets kind of, in my opinion, glazed over. As far as for a social worker, it's important to understand that there are so many people who find themselves a part of a vulnerable population. They weren't, and they become part of through substance abuse, through domestic abuse, things like that lead someone from what might be considered a normal life or more productive life into being a part of someone that does need assistance. And that's pretty much all I got.